Well, it's 5:55 in the afternoon on Saturday, the 5th of July, but this is the video for the 7th of July. And the title is Some Say the World Provides Perfect Contrast. The date for this video breaks down to 777. Interesting. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about contrast, natural and manipulated. It's sort of like food. It's either natural or genetically modified. Which do you prefer? Contrast is the same. Duality provides contrast. I embrace duality, which I have talked about repeatedly. I do not embrace polarization. That is a contrived, not a natural state of being. It comes from believing the lie of separation. There is no separation, but there is the lie of separation that creates ignorance. If we all embrace duality truly, we would be dancing with one another, not dueling. We can have real contrast, dark, light, masculine, feminine, spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, and many more polarities without a criminal structure that violates free will and purposely harms others. What we have is not contrast. It is a criminal enterprise run rampant. I will not rest until that is overcome, and all of us are free to explore life's diversity without threats from those who have no sense of ethics or decency and no respect for life itself. The reason I'm doing two videos in one day is because the video that I did, which hasn't even aired yet, but it will be up at 10 o'clock tonight, A Better World, Are We Almost There, Mommy?, talked about a thread in which there was a video posted by a friend of mine that I saw on my, what do you call it, the news feed, Fearless Non-Theism. And in that, it said that it's ridiculous to hope, or at least that's what I heard. Okay, now other people said other things. That thread has continued throughout the day, but I recorded this 13 hours ago, 13 hours and 11 minutes ago, starting time, because that was 4:44 a.m. this morning, and this is 5:55 p.m. this afternoon on the same day. But there were a lot more interesting points that were made in that thread. I'm not going to read them all. I'm just looking at some of them. One of my comments is, my greatest hope is to live in this world free of tyranny, where every man and woman is treated with respect and surrounded by others who succeed by helping everyone become the best they can be. That would be a love planet rather than a prison planet. And there were comments made about me calling it a prison planet because some people just simply do not want to see this as what it really is. It is a prison planet. And the majority, actually the whole of the human race, is subjected to abuse and are victims of a lie. Victims of something that is not true. That is that separation exists and that certain entities have the right to rule over and dominate others by force. That is against natural law, and that is not a natural polarity. That is something that was co-opted in creation that took it totally off course and did not allow the natural flow of evolution. And I don't care what you say. God cannot be the creator of evil. We are the creators of evil. Entities are the creators of evil. Entities that have broken the law by trying to be like God, namely Lucifer, when in fact angelic beings, as I said in a video that hasn't aired yet, but you'll hear it, it's the one that goes up for tomorrow, and this is the next day, that only man is like God. Angels cannot be like God. They are not created to be like God. Man is created to be like God, as Aristo said in the video, his most recent video. I'm talking about contrast. Now, I have been at the place in my thinking that, wow, they have provided us such tremendous contrast on earth. So in a sense, they've given us a gift. I've even said things like they've accelerated evolution by being as dark as they could be. Well, I'm sorry. I'm tired of seeing and witnessing a world of darkness. Now, I'm going to read one of the comments that one of my friends, and by the way, these people that are in this thread are my friends. I love them. I know them personally. They are not strangers to me. These are people that I interact with, and in the case of Armand, I've been interacting with him for 20 years. So, I mean, we're not talking about people that I don't know. We're not talking about people that don't know me and that I don't feel love from. We're talking about a disagreement that we have on how we perceive the world. But my friend Misty wrote, she's quoting me, "There is no separation, but there is the lie of separation that creates ignorance." That's a quote from me. "Yet you then say, quote, life on this planet is far from perfect, and I will not affirm perfection until it manifests in the human experience." And then she asks, what if it already has manifested, Ron, and you, still believing it hasn't, will not see it? I can say to you, for me, there is perfection, and I see it in death, rape, abuse, and love. All of the above. Would you say that this would be a demonstration of oneness and not separation? Would you say that because I see the perfect order of it, then it is I who is in denial? And I said, I'm not going to argue. If you want to see rape and abuse as perfect, that's your choice. My heart cries when I see such atrocities. That cry is not, it's perfect, but something is seriously wrong. Now, I look at the world as seriously wrong, but I do not see the world as something that is against us. I do not see life as something that is against us. I see that which is against us as something that has crept into creation, unawares, if you will. It's an evil that has been created by beings living in the universe, living in the cosmos, that think they have a right to break natural law. Natural law is simple. It's simple. I have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I have a right to conduct my life without getting permission from anyone to do anything, so long as I obey a few simple laws. Don't harm others. Don't steal from others or cause others loss on purpose. And don't violate the free will of anybody else. Live and let live. They are simple natural law principles, and they are also the foundation of common law. It's common sense. We don't live in a world of common sense. And if you're satisfied with it, and if you're going to just make the point of finding peace within yourself and expecting that peace to change the world, you're a dreamer. I mean, I'm a dreamer, but I've had a similar dream at points of time in my life. But it doesn't work. It doesn't change anything on the outside. And if it doesn't change the world that we live in, what good is it in the world that we live in? If our job is only to find peace within our hearts before we die, and it doesn't matter what happens around us, if nothing, that's separation at its worst. That's a carelessness. That's heartlessness. It's lacking of compassion. How can you be aware of what's going on in the world and of the tyranny of abuse and the fact that you've got trillionaires, trillionaire bankers, trillionaire people that are in charge of trusts, including the dragon families. Yes, the dragon families, those that consider themselves to be the ruling families, the ruling bloodlines, the elite establishment. Those have spent the wealth of the world on war and trying to pit one person against another, one religion against another, one country against another, one group against another. And they have done a damn good job of dividing and conquering the human spirit. The human spirit was not made, however, to be conquered. That is not a natural contrast. That is a contrived contrast. It is something that was artificially imposed, just like genetically modified foods. Now, I bet you that all three of my friends that like that video about fearless non-theism, I bet you every one of them is against genetically modified foods. But we have a genetically modified contrast where poisons have been injected into the thought patterns of the human race so that we have a distortion of our perceptions, so that we do not see clearly and we do not even realize that we are imprisoned on this planet by lies, by our own ignorance, and by a system that harvests our energy and takes from us that which would allow us to experience fulfillment. Yeah, it's contrast, but it's not natural contrast. Yes, genetically modified corn and other foods, there's food, but most animals won't eat it unless that's all they're given and they have a choice of eating or starving. You know, animals don't even eat margarine. If you put margarine out, they won't eat it. There are certain things that we accept as food which are not food at all. They are contaminated. They are contaminated on purpose. And our perceptions have been contaminated by a structure, by a matrix, by a system that is perverted. It is fraudulent. It is violent. It is evil at its very root. And I don't choose to want to continue to live in a world that's evil, calling evil contrast. There is natural contrast. There are things that are naturally contrasting to allow us to see differences and to choose what we want. And I want to dance with creation. I want to dance with life. I want to dance with love. I want to dance with the light and the shadow. I want to dance with creation. I want to dance with the God and the goddess. I want to live in harmony with life, not disharmony. Disharmony is something that we create because we believe a lie. We have to transcend the lie. That is not transcending duality. Duality will still exist. We will still have masculine and feminine energy. We will still have spirit and matter. We will still have all of the natural contrasting elements of life, which are all two sides of a single coin. But we won't have a distortion, a manipulation of our consciousness and of our perceptions, such as we have in this world. This is not perfect contrast, the world that we live in. It's not perfect at all. It's very imperfect. It's unsustainable. It is, again, evil at its very root. It is life backwards. It is not life. It is not living. And I don't care about this freaking cycle crap of the ages cycling and cycling. We got to go into the dark. Bullshit. Bullshit. We can learn far better if we have societies that are based on natural law and where natural law is enforced, so that people that step out of bounds are lovingly made to see, given the opportunity to see what stepping out of bounds means. And they choose harmony. They choose to dance instead of fight. We're still going to have certain tendencies within us because it's going to take a while to get it out. It's in our DNA. We're still going to have that when we remove the structure of the matrix that allows it to operate with impunity and do illegal and unlawful things that are against nature and against life. I will continue to raise my voice. I will continue to stand up for truth, for justice with mercy, for loving compassion of all my brothers and sisters, including the elite, including those that have been the perpetrators of crimes against humanity. I will continue to be willing to show mercy to any individual human being, any individual son or daughter of the living God who owns and takes responsibility for their actions and truly says, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And I can say, I love you. Thank you for coming to that realization. It's easy when you say you're sorry and you're saying it from your heart. It's easy to forgive you from my heart. It's easy. It's not hard. No matter what you've done, you can be forgiven. But this world that we live in is far, far, far from perfect. It is totally imperfect. It is totally out of balance. It is not in alignment with divine justice, with divine law, and it's not in alignment with love at all. Not at all. Karma sucks. And if you think that people are just getting paid back for something they did, and that's why they get raped, and that's why they get murdered, and that's why they get all sorts of other atrocities committed against them, bullshit. Each life is here now, and it's what's important right now on this planet. In the physical manifestation, this matters. I don't want to transcend and get the peace and pretend like it doesn't matter and kill my own sensitivities, my own awarenesses, my own compassionate heart. I don't want to kill that by turning my head against the rapes and the violence and the wars that are created, that rob me and rob humanity of our natural birthright. I'm going to take my stand, and I'm going to continue to stand. And I wish my friends would get on board and stop making excuses for a dark, dark, evil world that we live in. And it's time to change it, and it's up to us to change it. And we will not change it simply by going within and trying to reconcile and find peace within ourselves by saying, oh, it's all God's will. Bullshit, it's God's will. Bullshit. I won't buy that. I'll never buy that. It's not God's will that we die. It's God's will that we live, and live abundantly, and live courageously, and live creatively, and live compassionately, and live a life that leads to fulfillment. That's God's will. And that's the universe that I choose to see. The universe that supports that and draws me like a magnet to a better world. A world that allows contrast, but natural contrast, not contrived and unlawful contrast. Thank you for listening. Namaste.